Hi there everyone. So I decided to make braised veal shank. So these are ingredients. I have 6 veal shanks for myself, my husband, and my sister. A little olive oil, salt and pepper, onion, some garlic, tomato paste, some bay leaves, some carrots, some celery, and some beef stock, and Pelee Island Pinot Grigio. Normally you would just do this with any full-bodied wine that you like, a Shiraz, a Merlot. So braising is a slow cook method. You're going to basically braise whatever you're cooking in a liquid. So most of the stuff is meats and veggies will be covered. We start it on the stove and then finish it in the oven for a longer time, usually up to about 3 hours. So you always want to season your meat. So we're going to put some fresh ground pepper on there. Not super coarse, but if you like it coarse, then go ahead. I do kind of a medium coarseness, as you can see. There we go. And I've got some nice flaky salt here, so we're going to spread that over. So I'm going to then dredge these in some flour once I get the veggies chopped, because prep is important. So I'll get all these vegetables ready and put in the bowl here. All right, we're back. So I've turned on my burner. I have a cast iron pan here, enameled pan, but you can use just regular cast if you want. I'm going to add some olive oil to that, and I'm going to just dredge the veal shank in some flour with some salt and pepper for seasoning. Okay, so just putting in, a fair amount, maybe 3 tablespoons of olive oil. You want that to get heated up really well, and I'll put that aside here. At the back. There we go, nothing falls all over the place. So we're going to let that heat. I do have it at a medium-high heat, and we just want to be sure that the oil's heated up pretty good, because what we're basically doing is we want to sear this veal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pop it in here, get all the sides, as you can see. Just you can also do this with chunks of beef. You can do this any cheap cut. Cheap cuts are good to use for something like this, because this slow cooking method like this, they tenderize really well. So, and they, by the time this is done, it tends to fall apart. Okay, so the oil is nice and hot now. I have finished dredging the veal shanks, and we're just going to add them to the oil. So hear that sizzle there? That's what you want. And when you're putting things in, put them away from you. So don't come and splash it this way. You're going to place it in the pan and away, so no oil splatters up on you and burns you, because that's no fun. So I don't want to overload the pan, so I'm going to do 4 shanks in here for the moment, and we can come back to do the other ones. We're going to just brown them for a couple of minutes, so when they've got a little bit brown on the one side, we're going to flip those over. Okay, so I'm getting ready to flip these. I just want to make sure that they're not sticking to the pan, and they're not. So if they are sticking, they're just not ready to turn yet. So we're going to flip that over. You'll see just a little bit brown. It's not, we don't want it like totally golden. This one is perfect. Flip that over as well. There we go. This little guy, perfect. He's not sticking either. Thought it was going to. I'm going to flip that over. And one more. Like I said, we're going to flip this if I can get it. Flip it over as well. So we're going to let them golden up on this side as well. Okay, so these ones are brown. I've done the edges a little bit as well. As you can see, we've got a nice golden on there. So we're just going to set these ones aside. Okay, so the veal shanks are all browned. What we're going to do is throw in all these vegetables here. And there should be enough olive oil left. And we're just going to give that a quick stir around. What we want to do is we're going to reduce the heat a little bit to 4 to 5, so about medium heat. And we just want to stir these veggies around. You can also add things like squash, turnip, rutabaga, parsnips, any harder vegetables. You could add your potatoes into it as well, although I wouldn't recommend doing that right off, as they will get mushy. Okay, so I've been cooking these for about 5 or 6 minutes, just to get the onions a little bit translucent. You'll see there's a little bit of juice at the bottom of the pan here. We don't want them browned, so we're going to add that garlic in there. So this is 2 cloves of garlic. I have added it in. We don't want to put that in the beginning, because it can tend to burn. I do chop it, as you can see, in a little bit bigger chunks. And what we do next is we add in, I have these tomato pastes. I buy it in a tube, because I find sometimes I don't use the whole can. And even if I freeze it, I forget it in my freezer, and it tends to go to waste. So you want to squeeze in, a couple tablespoons full maybe, of maybe 3 tablespoons full of tomato paste. This puts a little bit of tomato flavor in it, but it doesn't make it tomatoey like a tomato sauce, so don't be concerned. This is an acid, so this will help the meat break down as well as the wine. And like I said, usually I do this with red wine, but I seem to have run out, which is unusual. I don't drink red wine, but I do cook with it, and especially for recipes like this, and I love it. So if you don't like red wine and don't like the flavor of it at all, use the white wine like I'm going to do. So we're just going to toss this around for just a quick minute so everything is coated with the tomato paste. And then we're going to add in some beef stock. So I'm going to add that in now. Like I said, if when I make some, I'll have that. So we're going to add in, I don't know, 2 cups maybe, on top of the stock. I'm going to add in, like I said, I've got this nice Peely Island Pinot Grigio, which is a lovely drinking wine as well, so you can have this with your dinner. I'm going to put about, a cup maybe of that in, so yeah, that much in my bottle, so yeah, it's about a cup, I guess. So we're going to let this come up to a boil. I am going to add in 3 bay leaves. If you don't have those bay leaves, no need to add them. Okay, so this is almost to a boil, so I've added some more pepper in. I did try the broth. It is a little undersalted, so I'm going to add in just a little bit of flaky salt there and mix that in. Like I said, better to undersalt than oversalt, but try things as you go. Try as, each level of cooking or each ingredient you add in. Be sure to taste things. You want it to come to taste good, but remember, don't oversalt if you're having guests because they can always add it at the end. And we're going to take these veal shanks and we're going to nestle them. That's what I mean by nestles, kind of put them in and get them a little bit covered up. So this is an important point for braising something. You want it basically covered in the liquid. And we're going to put that last one in there. So I push that down. We're all set. So I'm going to place this in the oven and leave it on 350 degrees for 3 hours. Now I will have a lid on this, which is over here. So let me grab the lid. Okay, so we're gonna pop the lid on. I'm going to turn this off and we're gonna get it in my oven. And the countdown begins and I will be back with the finished product. Hi everybody, we're back and finally all done for, look at that. This is our braised veal shanks. So I've got it all set. I'm just gonna put it on the stove here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the veal shanks out in a second and set them aside on a plate. So you can see the broth is a little bit thin. We're going to thicken that up. Okay, so as I'm taking the veal shanks out, you'll see what I meant by super tender. This is falling right off the bone, literally. So just going to take out the last of the 4 bay leaves. You want to set those aside because they do not taste good. I'm going to flick the burner on, put it at a fairly high heat. We're just going to bring this up to a boil. There's a few ways of thickening. We can do what I'm doing, and I'm just going to bring it to a boil because I want to keep the veggies as whole as possible, so it gives a little extra texture. You could, if you wanted, add some cornstarch with cold water, make a slurry, and put that in and thicken the juice up to a thicker gravy. Or you can use a hand blender and blend half of this, just blend it kind of so it's a little coarser. Okay, so now I've got it to the thickness I want. You can see it's a little bit thicker. Basically reduced down by maybe a third. You can reduce down more or less. I'm going to add in some of the veal shank now. As it's falling off the bone, I might as well just take it right off and I'll just put the chunks of meat in here. All right, time to plate. I've added the veal back in, as you can see, carrots, celery, etc. And this is why I only reduce it around a certain amount. Once the meat's back in, it's not quite as much juice as it seemed to look, so you're not going to have too much. So we're going to plate this. So I mashed up some potatoes a little bit earlier. You can whip them, mash them, roast them, whatever you like. So I'm just going to put that on. I like to kind of make it into a little bowl there and have as much or as little as you like. And then we're going to take some spoonfuls of this here. Make sure we get a few nice veal chunks in there, like so. Spoon it over the top, and now make sure you get a good scoop of the veggies. And as I said, messy cook. My plate is not beautiful because, I'm messy, but enjoy. If you liked this video, please click the like button and, put on a notification for yourself for when I have a new video pop up. And don't forget to subscribe to our page. Thanks until the next time.